Hey guys, I'm live on the front porch. How you guys doing? So I want to do a live front porch. Um, First of all, I want to say when I do jury duty, I've done it twice. I did it. Oh, by the way, I want to celebrate something. I've been this plane go by. I want to celebrate something. This summer makes 2 years that I've been getting paid on YouTube. I started getting paid in the summer of 2024. So I've been getting paid 2 years now. So that's cool, I think. And I've also had jury duty twice. I had it in 2024 and I had it in 2026. And I have a really good friend that kind of directs us all. Her name is Lucy. And when I met Lucy, when I saw you on my walk, I was like lost in thought in my music, and I forgot your name, and I called you Mary, but I know you're Lucy. And she gave me this beautiful American patriotic pen. It's a flag pen. I use it as my favorite pen every year when she gives me one, and I still have it this year, and still has ink, and it's my favorite pen anytime she gives me one. The second one she's given me, so thank you, Lucy. And I want to go out on a limb here as far as content and do some music writing. This is music staff paper for music. And I don't feel like playing guitar right now. In fact, I played it in the living room. Sorry if nobody watched it. You know, I liked it. I don't know why you guys didn't watch it, but whatever. But rather than play right now, because that was the playing I had to do this morning that I felt like doing. Let's go live and let me write down some notes on staff paper, and we'll talk about it and see if I'm musically literate. LOL. So I'm going to flip the phone around so you can see the paper I'm writing with. This is staff paper. So let's mess around. You know, I don't do just one thing on my channel. I'm not a one-trick pony. I do different stuff, and this is one of them I like to do, I think. So first you have to write the treble clef. I'm going to write this in treble clef. I don't know how to write it very well. Is that good enough? I don't know. I know that's not correct probably, but for now that'll have to do. So you have flats and sharps. The first sharp is F sharp, and that would be maybe good boy does. I think they put it on this line right here. It's not a line, it's a space. That's F sharp. So let's say I want to do F sharp as a key signature. So that's the key of G major, or it could be E minor. So G major or E minor is one sharp. Let's just go with C. C is too easy, and two sharps is D major or B minor, but that's a little too hard. So let's do right in the middle. Let's do one sharp. So first of all, we have to decide if we want to be in G major or E minor. Let's say G major. Let's say we want to do G major. So I'm going to write, I'm going to compose something. I'm going to be in G major. I could also say E minor, but right now I picked G major. And by the way, this is called a G clef because this little swirl is around the G line. The second line from the bottom is the G, and that's where the swirl is. So it's also called the G clef or the treble clef. So let's do a note. Let's do a G note. There's a G note, but you have to determine. Oh, I didn't put the time signature. Scratch that. I'm going to say, let's say 4/4 time, even though that's common. Let's do 4/4 time. So if we do a G note in 4/4 time, you don't keep it. I'm gonna fill it in because I want it to not. It doesn't have to be a whole note or a half note. It can be a quarter note or less. Let's make it let's make it a quarter note. So for quarter notes, you don't have to put a flag, but you also have to fill it in though. If you want an eighth note, you have to put one flag. If you don't fill it in, it's a half note. But it's not. It's filled in, but it doesn't have a stem or beam or whatever they call it. So it's a quarter note. So they're going to be four. That's 1 out of 4 beats so far. Now, what do I want to do with that G? I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to make a C major triad to start. So it's going to be in second inversion because I'm going to write a C right here. That's a perfect fourth interval. And then let's make an E note. That's a second inversion C major triad. And let's go back down to, let's go back down where we came from to play a C again. Let's do that. So that's a C major triad in second inversion in the key of G major. So G, A, B, C, A, B, C. C is the 4 chord in G major, G, A, B, C. So what would you, then you draw a line because that's your first bar. So that wasn't too hard, was it? And then what I can do is put the G note again, but this time I'm going to write a root position G major triad. Okay, so that would be the 1 chord. So it goes from 4 to 1. Note the downward motion because it's from 4 to 1, and that's in triads. 4 to 1 is down, 5 to 1 is up. And 7th chords, it's the opposite. 4 to 1 is up, and 5 to 1 is down. And let's go back to the G, B. Let's go back to the B note. So that would be a root position G major triad, and then put another line because that's the second step, or the second bar. So it's it's C major to G major in the key of G major. So no big deal, not too hard. Now let's do for some reason let's do an E minor triad. So let's do E minor. F, A, C, E, every good. Let's put it right here. That's an E. Okay, that's an E minor triad. All right, fair enough. That's the six minor chord in G major. But what I can do is I can pivot and make that E minor for a second. How about that, guys? I'll make it sound like it's going to be E minor. How about that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go D. I'm going to go D, D, E, D, but I'm going to write it sharp. That's D sharp. That's the raised 7th, the major 7th interval in E minor. And why did I do that? Well, that's going to set up a E, F, G, A, B. Let's do it. Let's do this. That is D sharp. Let's do this. Let's go. Let me think here. Let's do a first inversion. Oh no, wait. E, F, G. Let me figure this out. E, F, G, A, B, B. I'm going to do a B major triad. So B major has D sharp, and then it has B, C, D sharp, E. Then it has F sharp, which is like right here. But F is already sharped in the key signature, so you don't have to write a sharp. It's already sharped automatically by the key signature. D sharp, D, E, F sharp, and then you need a B note to finish the B minor triad. So I'm going to play a B right up here, and then I come back down to the F, and then make a bar. I went too far with that line. I wasn't thinking, or I was thinking, or I wasn't. Whichever one isn't good, I was doing. So that's E minor triad to a first inversion B major triad. B, C, D, E, F, yeah. That and that makes a 5 major to 1 minor in an E minor key if you were in E minor, but I said I was in G major, but hey, let's play around with it, you know. And that's 4 bars. Let's make that the first line. I won't try to write 5 because it's it's not as symmetrical, because we usually we usually do even numbers of bars by default in Western music. So that was E minor to B major to E minor. Not bad. Then let's do this. Let's do G, A, B, C. Let's do D major. So does that feel right? Sure, why not? Let's do D major. I'm going to go from D. Let's do this here. D major. How do I want to play this? D, E, F, G. All right, let's do D major. But this time I'm going to put it in, I'm going to put it right here. Let's put it right here. That's D major. Now that's D, F sharp, and A. That's a root position, D major chord. Okay. And then let's do D, E, F. Let's do a second inversion G major triad. Does that make any sense at all? D. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to go G, B, C, D. It's going to be D, D, E, F, G, A, B, G, D, E, F, D, E, F, G, then G again, and that makes the next bar here. So what's that? That is a D major to G major progression in the key of G major. So that's 5-1 in G major. The 5 chord is D major, and that's this case it is in 1, 2. It's in second inversion, and then you go to a G major. No, it isn't. That's a D major triad in root position, and then you go to a second inversion of G major for the 1, 2, 6th bar of the piece so far. Or you could think of it as the second bar of the second line. I'm gonna do 2 more bars and then we'll stop. So how about that? I don't want to overdo this. No, okay, that was cool. D major to G major. Now let's do something. What do I want to do now? Let me think here. Let me think, guys. Oh gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm actually thinking of what would sound good in my head while I'm doing this. That was D major to G major. Let's do this. Let's do C major triad. So C major. You know, the C is always the middle C is always right below. It's either right below the treble clef or it's right above the bass clef is middle C. So here's going to be a C, D, A, B, C major. Let's make that root position. So C, E, G, E. That's a root position C major triad. And then to end it, C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, C, G, A, B, C. To end it, I'm going to go to a first inversion G major triad. So that's C, that is C major. Then I'm going to go to B, play a B note. All right, that's B note. And then a D note. Let's do a D note right here. All right, so that's a B note, D note, and then I'm going to do a G. Did I do that right? That's B, D, E, D, E, F, right up here, and then go back down. Hear that? That's a first inversion G major triad to end the little piece that we're doing. So that ends it for now. I'm going to go over it again just to review, but that's the main work. I didn't plan this ahead. I just took up a pin that my lovely friend Lucy, which I love her, gave me, the jury duty lady. And if I see her again, I will not forget your name, Lucy. But this is my little piece. So let's go over it a little bit. I'm not going to try to hum it. I don't have perfect pitch. Oh, and then you got to redo the staff writing on the next thing here. You got to go like that, and then you got to go sharp again. If you go sharp on F, and you got to write 4/4. You can't just do that once in the piece. You got to do that every time you go to a new line. So there's that. So I did a second inversion C major chord to a root position G major chord to a root position E minor chord to a first inversion B major chord, or not chord, but arpeggio, whatever. And then I did a root position D major arpeggio, and then I did a second inversion G major arpeggio, and then I did a root position C major arpeggio, and then I did a first inversion G major arpeggio. That ends the piece. So yeah, let me talk about this a second. Make sure I got this straight in my head here. Now that was C major, and then G, A, B, C goes down. Yep, I got it. That was just an impromptu piece. Let's give it a title. Let's call it, sorry about the personal, I'm just going to write this. This is going to be in the title. It's going to be called I Love Lucy. I don't know how she spells it though. If it's a U, Lucy, I'm going to spell it with, I'll make it a Y. It's more common. That's the name of my piece, because I'm thinking about her, because I'm writing with my patriotic pen. It's a beautiful pen, and it lasts a long time. So anyway, there's that. I Love Lucy. That was a show in the 70s, I think. It starred Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz Jr. Okay, so here I am, guys. That was fun. I can actually not only do I know how to write music technically, like I know how to write the notes, I know how to write it correctly. But I know my music theory enough to write the right notes when I do write stuff, and I have a good enough ear for music. I can hear it as I write it, at least somewhat. I'm not Mozart. I don't have perfect memory of music. I can't go to a concert for an hour and come back home and play it first time on my guitar just from one listen like Mozart could. But I do channel him. He's my favorite musician. Mozart and Alan Holdsworth are my favorite musicians in history. Close behind is Jimi Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen and Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads and all the rock guys, anyway, Malmsteen. But just the cream of the crop is Mozart and Alan Holdsworth. And so I do channel Mozart, and I'm not trying to be an ass or an egotistical person about that. I just really do. And you guys are free to play that piece. Or just don't play it. But you're free to look at it, do whatever you want with this video. Some people might want to play the piece. Some people might want to study how I did that, or what the concept, how do you write music on staff paper. Some people might try to write themselves their own music. Maybe I inspired that in somebody. But you know what I was going to say? I wasn't gonna. Well, I just thought to say rather than I was gonna say, but I just thought to say. Don't I dress like I do for many reasons, and one of them is that I don't want people judging each other based on snap judgments and prejudices just from looking at somebody. You look at me and you think I actually have people think I'm homeless, and I'm not. I'm not a drug addict, and I'm not stupid, and I own a home. But also, you people in my haters department in my music probably don't think I can write music. Probably don't think I'm smart. Probably don't think I could do what I just did. But don't underestimate me. Just because of your prejudices against me, because of the shit in your head, you think you can sum me up. Underestimating somebody is a serious way to set yourself up to not have a good outcome if you do that. I'm not in this case. You're just saying that Jimmy can't write music. Oh, I guess he can, but don't judge. Don't underestimate people in general, not just me and not just whatever. A lot of big guys, like my neighbor is a big guy. The guy that's an asshole, he underestimates me. I think he thinks he can whatever, but he's not the smartest guy in the room. He doesn't even have. I won't go on about it, but even my wife said another thing he doesn't have. But she said it, not me, so that validates it even more than if I said it. The big guy isn't always the smartest guy and isn't always something else, which I'll remain unnamed. Anyway, love you guys. Peace, love, and rock and roll.